There's a single sinister lie about your past, a poisonous platitude you've probably been told your whole life. It's a sly, subtle whisper from society, from other people, and perhaps most painfully, from your own inner critic. This lie is what keeps you from that promotion, from peace, and from passionate relationships. It's an invisible anchor constantly dragging behind you, ensuring your future feels just as heavy as your past. Does it sound familiar? Or do you know someone who lives in a constant state of regret, haunted by their past? Today, we won't just expose this deception. We'll dismantle it completely. We're going to break the chains of regret that have been holding your future hostage. If you've ever felt fundamentally flawed by a past failure, or if you've looked in the mirror and only seen a mosaic of your mistakes, then this video is for you. Stick with me. Welcome to Waves of Change. This is my journey of retiring, relocating, and writing what peace means for me. Because you're never too late and your peace is never too far. First, let's properly profile the enemy. What is this haunting, heavy feeling? This constant creeping voice that tells us could have or should have done things differently. That's regret, a profoundly human emotion. It's a phantom that loves to prowl the hallways of our minds, perpetually replaying our poor performances. And the lie we're talking about is that engine that gives this ghost its power. The lie says your mistakes aren't just moments in time, they are your identity now. It's the insidious ideas that says, I didn't just fail at that business, I'm a failure. Or I didn't just make a bad decision in that relationship, I am bad at relationships. It's a fantastic fraud your mind plays on you, taking a single event from your past and turning it into a permanent brand of your character. Picture this like a crooked salesman, a shyster, a charlatan who lives in your head. His only professional purpose is to sell you a story that you're stuck. He's curated a crushing collection of every single time you've stumbled or showed a moment of weakness, and he plays it on a loop. He convinces you that this single highlight reel of your worst hits is the film of your entire life. And why? Because someone who believes that they're stuck is predictable. They don't chase big dreams. They don't take risks. They stay in their little cage because that salesman, that charlatan, that con man has them convinced that the world outside is far too dangerous for someone so deeply defective. This whole process is fueled by a familiar flood of negative feelings: guilt, shame, and anxiety. Guilt says, I did a bad thing. But shame, its more toxic twin, says, I'm a bad person. While guilt can sometimes guide us to do better, shame just wants to keep us small and silent. We become so petrified that other people will see us the way that lie tells us to see ourselves that we start to believe it's the absolute truth. This cycle of self-blame is exhausting, stealing your present peace and making it almost impossible to picture a better future. When you buy into this lie, you begin living in a cruel cage constructed from your own history. The bars are forged from what ifs and if onlys. What if I'd taken that other job? If only I'd been a better partner. You're stuck in this agonizing loop of overthinking and you simply cannot move forward. It's like trying to drive a car while you're staring in the rearview mirror. Eventually, you're going to crash. Living in this cage has serious soul-crushing consequences. It makes you terrified of repeating your mistakes. This fear is paralyzing. It prevents you from pursuing that position you really want because you still feel the sting of past rejection. It stops you from opening your heart to someone new because you can't fathom facing that kind of heartbreak again. The memory of a past failure feels far more real and more raw than the possibility of a future success. This fear creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because you're so scared of failing again, you start playing it safe, perpetually paralyzed. You shrink your world, your ambitions, and your spirit to fit inside this cage. By doing that, you practically promise your future will look a lot like your past, limited, locked down, and lacking the kind of growth that only comes from taking a few chances. You become haunted by the ghost of missed opportunities, not realizing that the fear of creating new ghosts is what's stopping you from truly living. Your confidence collapses, you cease to make progress, and the vibrant, capable, smart person you're meant to be stays locked away. But what if I told you the cage has no locks? That salesman is a fraud, and that this prison is built on one profound misunderstanding. Here's the lie stated simply, and I want you to hear me and hear me good. The lie is that your past is a life sentence. It's the belief that your mistakes are permanent, personal stains that define you forever. It's the idea that who you were is the only person you are ever allowed to be. But here's the truth that will set you free. And hear me good. The truth is that your past is a training ground. That's it. It's not a punishment, it's a classroom. It's not a brand on your soul, it's a batch of lessons. I faced this myself years ago. I spent 10 years in the Air Force, a path I was proud of, and I was on the fast track to a full 20-year retirement. That was the safe, secure, successful plan. But as I got closer to that halfway point, I felt a deep, undeniable pull towards a different life, one of creativity and entrepreneurship that the military path couldn't offer. The lie whispered in my ear, if you leave now, you're a quitter. You're throwing away a decade of work. You're failing at the one thing you've been good at. For months, I was tormented by that choice. But then I realized my time in the service wasn't a cage demanding another 10 years. It was a training ground that had prepared me for my next chapter. The discipline, the leadership skills, the focus, those weren't wasted. They were the very tools I needed to build something new. Choosing to leave the military wasn't a failure to finish. It was a brave decision to begin again, more intelligently. Henry Ford, a man who knows plenty about failure, said it best. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. This is the monumental shift in mindset that changes everything. This is the moment you fire that crooked salesman in your head. You have to believe deep down that your past doesn't define your future. It informs it. It prepares you for it. It gives you wisdom you couldn't have gotten any other way. The goal isn't to erase the past, but to reframe what it means to you. Knowing the truth is one thing, but living it is another. So how do we do it? How do we tear down that cage and step into a future that isn't just a repeat of the past? It comes down to a simple 3-step plan. This isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about forging it into a tool that serves you. Step 1, own it, don't be it. The first step, and perhaps the hardest, is to face your failures without fusing with them. Take full responsibility of your actions without letting them become your identity. This is a massive difference between healthy guilt and toxic shame. Owning it means you look at your role and what happened with unflinching honesty. Write it down, name the mistake plainly and powerfully. That's responsibility. Being it is when you let that action define you. It's the difference between saying, I did something that was selfish, and I am a selfish person. One is a behavior, the other is a branding of your being. To create the separation, you must practice self-compassion. I talk about that a lot. Speak to yourself with the same support you'd show a friend. You wouldn't tell them they're fundamentally flawed, would you? Of course not. You'd tell them that everyone messes up, and what matters now is what you do next. So consciously reject the label, acknowledge the act, but do not become it. Step 2, once you've owned it, without letting it own you, it's time to reframe it. Every mistake, no matter how much it stung, has a lesson lying in wait. Your job is to be a detective and find that lesson. Instead of asking, why did this terrible thing happen to me? You need to ask a much more important question. What did this come to teach me? This single question shifts you from feeling like a victim to becoming a student. It turns regret from a source of pain into a source of power. Go grab a piece of paper. At the top, write down the mistake, then make 2 columns. What went wrong and what did I learn? Be brutally honest in the first column. Then, in the second, turn those painful points into powerful lessons. A failed business might teach you about market research or managing money. A bad breakup might teach you about setting boundaries or speaking your truth. For me, it was listening to my intuition. You're not blaming yourself, you're building your wisdom. You paid a price for this knowledge, so it would be a profound shame not to use it. That failure wasn't the end, it was the plot point that prepared you for what comes next. Now, if any of this is clicking with you, if you're feeling even a little bit lighter about your own past, then hit that subscribe button for me. We're all about providing practical, powerful tools to break free from these mental cages and to build a future you're fired up about. Join the community and let's keep building together. Step 3. Now, the first 2 steps were all about dealing with the past. This final, formidable step is all about creating the future. You can't build a new house by starting at the rubble of the old one. Eventually, you have to turn around and start laying a new foundation, firm and fast. This is where you redirect all of the energy you once spent ruminating on the past into building the person you want to become. It starts with a vision. If your old identity was the one who failed, what's the new one? Is it the resilient creator, the reliable partner, the person who is powerful with their money? Define it with clarity and conviction. This isn't a fantasy, it's a direction. It gives you something to aim for. Next, you turn that identity into action. Start setting small, specific goals that align with this new vision. If you regret not pursuing a certain career, maybe you start by simply taking 1 online course. The key is to start small. Confidence isn't born from happy thoughts. It's built by keeping the promises you make to yourself. When you say you're going to work out for 10 minutes and you do it, you cast a vote for your new identity. Each small win is another brick in your new foundation. And surround yourself with people who see your future, not just your past. Connection is the ultimate cure for the isolation that shame creates. But what about those who won't let you forget? We know those people. Those people want to keep you locked in the cage by constantly reminding you of your past. You need a ready response that is both powerful and peaceful. When someone brings up a past mistake, you can look them dead in the eye and say, "You're right, that happened. And it taught me a valuable lesson." That experience is part of why I'm so focused on building what's next. You're not denying your history. You're demonstrating that you control the narrative now. You're showing them that the past isn't your anchor. It was your education. This simple, firm response shuts down the conversation and reinforces your new identity, both to them and, more importantly, to yourself. For years, you've been carrying around the crushing weight of a lie. The lie that your past has permanently poisoned your future. You've let it define you, diminish you, and keep you trapped in a loop of regret and fear. But that ends today. The truth is, your past isn't your destiny. It's your training ground. Your mistakes aren't your identity. They were your instructors. By owning your story without letting it own you, by pulling the lessons from your failures, and by actively and artfully building a new future, you take your power back. You prove that your past, it was just a chapter, not a whole story. Every day is a fresh page. Every moment is a chance to begin again, smarter, stronger, and with far more compassion for yourself. The life you want isn't blocked by what happened back then. It's waiting for you to build it right now. So, I want to ask you a question. I want you to be honest in the comments below. What is one tired old lie about your past that you're ready to release starting today? By writing it down, You're taking the first, most powerful step. You're declaring your freedom. So let's start building. Hey y'all, I'm Vanessa and this is Waves of Change. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, you're never too late and your peace is never too far. Bye now.